Appreciate y'all tuning in. All right, we're gonna get straight to it. Let me check my volume, make sure I'm good to go. It's gonna be a quick one tonight because I got to get some sleep. So give me 1 second here. All right, we good to go. All right, so y'all saw the title of the channel. You know, are YouTube's hate speech policies, are they fair to us? Are they fair to Black people in particular? Is it fair to us, right? We're the slaves, right? We're the slaves. We're the forgotten. We're the ones that are trying to get free some kind of way. And I'm questioning whether these hate speech laws are fair to us. There's a channel that I watch quite frequently. I don't agree with all the information that the guy puts out, but he does put out a lot of information. We disagree on who's Edom and who white people are and whatnot. But regardless of the fact, he's putting out a lot of information to kind of awake the masses onto some of the things that are going on. Okay. Now I noticed today that he had a YouTube video up, and I clicked on it, and as soon as I clicked on it, it said this video had been removed for hate speech. Okay. And I say, dang, it's kind of funny, you know, one, because I had that same thing happen to me. I put a video up where I said the truth right in front of the video. And within maybe 10 minutes, that video was removed for hate speech. My channel was blocked for a week, and my views and my reach has gone straight down since then. Straight to the gutter since then. All right. So I've noticed that what's going on, Vortex? Appreciate you popping in there. I noticed that it seems like, you know, if we're the slaves, how can a slave have hate speech? I guess is what I'm saying. Our story is the story of the slave. So how can a slave be the one doing hate speech? How is the slave the one that's endangering people now? The slave. So I have to ask myself, maybe we're not the slaves after all. Maybe we have more power and influence than what they're letting on. Okay. Now, I say Edom is not all white people. If you're Israelite, if you believe that we're the Jews, you know that a lot of the camps, some of the, I'm not going to say a lot, but some of them, many of them, they teach that the white man is Edom. He's Esau. He's Jacob's brother. Okay, we can get into that story another time, but that's what a lot of them teach, and that's their understanding. I disagree with that. I say that Edom is specifically Jewish people. I think they fit the prophecies, and their actions fit Edom way more than just white people in general. I think white people are actually Japheth. I think that Japheth and white people and some Asians fit that mold a lot better than them being all Edom. But we're not going to get into all that right now. Now, this channel had a hate speech thing, which is insane to me. Okay. And it reminded me of a story in the Bible. Okay. Let's go into it real quick. Then we're going to watch a surprise video. Let me see. Yeah, we know who owns YouTube. And this is going to go right into it there, Vortex. Check it out. So now I'm going to give you a little backstory. So this is the story about the children of Israel. This is them coming out of Egypt. They're out of Egypt. Okay. Moses, through God, freed the children of Israel. Now they're coming out and they're trying to make their way to the promised land. They're trying to get to the promised land that was promised to their forefathers. Okay. And there's a very important part in the story. All right, we're going to start at Numbers chapter 20, verse 14. We're going to read just a few verses, and it explains exactly what's happening now. Okay, watch this. So the children of Israel and Moses are trying to make their way through the desert. Okay, and along their way, they come across the land of Edom. Now, Edom is their brother. Edom is Jacob's brother. Esau is our brother. It's a weird story, guys. The truth is stranger than fiction. All right. Now, I know you look at Jewish people and say, well, how are they, they're light skinned. We're dark. That's just the way God chose to do it. Okay. So as the children of Israel are coming out of Egypt, they're now trying to cross through Edom's land. The shorter path is to go through Edom's land. And watch what happens here. And Moses, this is Numbers 20, verse 14. Okay. And Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Thus saith thy brother Israel, thou knowest all the travail that have befallen us. So Moses is saying, y'all know everything, all the bad stuff that happened to us. It'd be the same thing as a black person out in America saying, you know all the trouble we've been through with the quote unquote slavery, with how they tricked us with the civil rights movement, with the Jim Crow, with all these bad policies that we've fallen victim for, the abortion. You know all the pain we going through here. We don't even know who we are. Edom, brother, you know all the travail that's came upon us. And then it says how our fathers went down into Egypt, and we have dwelt in Egypt a long time. And the Egyptians vexed us and our fathers. That's exactly what happened. Our fathers went into slavery and we've been vexed, right? 20 verse 16. And we cried unto the Lord. He heard our voice and sent an angel and brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of thy borders. So we're right at the border of Edom now. Check it out. This is what Moses has the messenger ask. Let us pass, I pray thee, through thy country. We will not pass through the fields or through the vineyards, neither will we drink of the water of the wells. We will go by the king's highway, and we will not turn to the right hand nor the left hand until we have passed through thy borders. So Moses is sending a messenger to say, we want to go through your borders and we're not going to touch your stuff. We're not going to mess with anything. We're not going to drink your water. We're not going to go to the left, to the right. We're going to go straight through on a straight path. And look what Edom said. And Edom said unto him, thou shalt not pass by me, lest I come out against thee with the sword. And the children of Israel said unto him, we will go by the highway. We'll take the highway, guys, right? And if I and my cattle drink of thy water, then I will pay for it. I will only, without doing anything else, go through on my feet. And he said, thou shalt not go through. And Edom came out against him with much people and with a strong hand. Here's the last verse I'm going to read, Numbers 20 and 21. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his border. Wherefore Israel turned away from him. And that's what's happening these days. They don't want us to go through their country, through their borders. Like Lex put in there. You know who owns YouTube? Who owns these platforms? It's the same spirit, the same energy. This guy right here, he's not a rough and tumble guy like that. He's not rough and tumble, but they gave him a hate speech strike today. And I'm not sure if his channel, if he can access his channel now or not, but he got a hate speech channel today. Excuse me, a hate speech channel, a hate speech strike today. All right. And it's the same energy. Edom will not let us pass through their borders. We're trying to get to the promised land. There's brothers on here trying to wake people up, trying to spread truth, trying to enlighten our people, trying to have conversations that need to be had. But they won't let us go through their border. They won't let us use their country. You saw it happen with Ye. You saw it happen with Nick Cannon. You saw it happen with Kyrie Irving. They had a problem with that. Anytime. I got a hate speech strike early on. And my channel has been ever since. I was getting 10,000 views, 8,000 views early on. Boom. Hate speech strike. Now the algorithm hate me. But it's okay, though. It's okay. You know, it is okay. So, hey, we're going to watch this old video right here. This is a controversial video right here. This is a guy named David Cole. He's Jewish. He's on the Montel Williams show with another guy named Mark Weber. And they are debating or challenging the the Holocaust narrative, basically. Okay, so I'm going to watch it for a few seconds here and to see how it goes. I'm not going to add a whole lot to it. This aired back in the 90s, back when they had all kinds of good stuff on daytime television. Montel Williams, Phil Donahue. There was a few others. They would have the KKK on with the Black Panthers. They would have Farrakhan on. All kinds of different types of ideas were able to be expressed in the 90s daytime television. But then they cut it, right? So it's really hard to find this video. I did find it. We're going to watch it and just kind of take it from there. Now, I'm not, quote unquote, denying the Holocaust. Okay. I wasn't there. All right. But at the same time, for educational purposes, I do want to see what other opinions are and what other people think. Okay. So we're going to check it out. All right. And we'll see how it goes. Hit that like button for me if you haven't already. We get straight to it. Let's go.
No matter how many times we see the footage, it shocks us. During the Holocaust, an estimated 6 million Jews died under the regime of Adolf Hitler. They died from starvation, disease, and gassing. But there are some who say that these pictures are not real, that much of what is known about the Holocaust is fiction and not fact. One person who questions the existence of the Holocaust is Mr. Mark Weber. Mark is a Holocaust revisionist. He is the editor and spokesman for the Institute for Historical Review. And also joining us is Mr. David Cole, another revisionist. He's a member of the Committee for Open Debate on the Holocaust. David was...
I have a video on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, it's called Sweeter. With Nick Fuentes and Ye are featured in it with a couple other revisionists, as they call them. About this topic. Now, one thing about this topic I do find strange, right? And I'm gonna let it play. I got to get this off real quick though. If I go into the Google right now, right, and I put in the most evil, I don't even want to say, yeah, evil, vile description of a sex act I want to see done, I can put in there, black girl does XYZ upside down, blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to get a whole bunch of recommendations for what video I want to watch to see this type of pornographic material. It's going to pop up with no filter, right? But if I put in there something like, did the Holocaust happen, or Holocaust this and that, I'm going to get a bunch of videos. The first several of them are going to say something like, what are you doing? Holocaust denial is bad. Hey, brother, you sure you want to watch that? Oh my God, what are you? You see what I'm saying? All these safeguards about that topic. But on the other end, if I put something like, let me see some vile sex act with a black girl doing X, Y, and Z, no filter, it's going to show it to me right away. And these are the things that I don't like. I don't like the one-wayedness of this system, of this setup. That seems demonic. It is demonic. It's evil. The things that are protected. I tell you right now, the people that don't like us, because I love everybody. And that's the thing about it. I would tell my Israelite brothers, man, stop saying you hate people. That's stupid. You bitching about this, that, and the third. Hate is what we got right now. This is a hate-filled world. So you saying you hate this and hate that, you just adding into we got hate. We lovers over here. We love everybody, right? So we can call it all out. All right. I forgot what I was going to say. All right, here we go.
Recently under attack by members of the Jewish Defense League while he was speaking on the subject, because David is Jewish. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being here. We appreciate you coming. We have all seen the specials, the news clips, the footage. Everyone around the world believes that the Holocaust took place.
Exactly. They protect that. They protect that. And that's okay. I understand. But you need to protect the pornography too then. See, I don't have a problem with you protecting that story and that narrative, if that's what you want to do. But you also need to protect the other side though. And that's that imbalance that we're dealing with right now in society. It's going to have to get fixed. It's going to have to get rectified. Okay? I don't like the fact that a lot of black people are signed to Jewish labels and, whatever the case you want to call it. And you got one group called Jewish who say that they're people of God. On the other hand, you got the people called black who don't have no idea who they are. That's an unfair advantage. I'm black. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? And let's say I rap, I sing, I dance, I do acting, or whatever the case may be. I'm going through some company owned by Jewish people or have major Jewish executives. And they know all their information, who they are. They got this religion. They got this connections signed to a black person with no identity. It's just imbalances all over the place. All right. But we the Jews, though.
Why do you think it didn't?
Well, Montel, it's very important to understand that no one says that those pictures are not real, as you indicated at the beginning of the program. The pictures are very real. They're very horrible. They're very tragic, and we've all seen them. We've all heard that 6 million Jews died in the Second World War during the Holocaust. But it's very important to understand what these pictures show and what they don't show.
Hey, we're going to show love, though. We're going to show love. We're not going to bash them too hard. You know, they're in a tough spot. They're in a tough spot right now. I'm gonna tell you right now. And there's no turning back. They're in a really, really, really tough spot. One thing I will say about that culture, the rabbi culture, that I find interesting. I've said this before, right? I even got a rap song, right? They love, okay, hold on. So you got two characters, right? We'll talk about two characters right now. Jesus Christ. No. Let's start with Hitler. Hitler, right? Rabbi culture hates Hitler. Right? Obviously, right? Hitler's the most evil man ever walked the face of the earth. They hate Hitler. They hate Hitler. They hate Nazis. And no one who's been educated in this system would say, why do you hate Hitler? Because we all know the narrative. Hitler was the most evil thing ever walking. So they hate Hitler. Check. Got it. Hitler's the devil. Check. Then you look on the other side with a guy like Jesus Christ. Now, regardless if people believe Jesus Christ existed or not, regardless if you believe that or not, his image is that of being one of the best people to ever walk the face of the earth. A person who's not evil. He's next to God. He stands for truth, love, righteousness. And guess what? Rabbi culture hates him too. So you hate the bad boy in the class and you hate the good boy in the class. Where does that put us? I say right now, this world is stuck between Jesus Christ and Hitler. You can't go towards Hitler because it's, oh, Hitler. And you can't go towards Jesus Christ because they don't like him either. So where does that put us? In this boiling pot of shit. Excuse my language. Here we go. All right, let's watch this video, guys. Don't get me distracted too much. Here we go.
These pictures were taken at the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp at the end of the war by the British when they liberated the camp. The people shown these pictures, and it's a very, very terrible pictures. Nobody denies that. Nobody says it didn't happen. Nobody says it's not true. These people were victims of starvation and disease. They died in the last weeks of the war. And they died in the last weeks of the war as, in fact, indirect victims of the war. British doctors who were at the camp themselves at the time the camp was liberated, and many inmates who were at the camp there and elsewhere have also confirmed that conditions at Belsen, although certainly not a country club, were relatively good until the final weeks and months of the war. And that was because in the final weeks and months of the war, all of Germany, all of Europe was in complete chaos. All the railroads were ruined. It was impossible to supply food. It was impossible to supply water. And particularly at Bergen-Belsen, thousands and thousands and thousands of Jews were evacuated from camps further to the east as the Soviets were coming in and sent into this and other camps which were enormously overcrowded. And these people died in large numbers by disease and starvation. But if the policy of the German government had been to exterminate these people, they would have long since been dead, and these pictures would not have been taken. In fact, the German government policy during the war was a very grim one, it was a very harsh one, and so forth. As I said, again, no one denies those pictures. But those people were not victims of a program or a policy of extermination, and that's what Holocaust revisionists say.
Well, let's go back a little bit in history here so we can kind of bring everybody up to speed, because I asked for a history lesson myself.
Y'all know Montel used to date Kamala. Did y'all know that? Look at Montel. He was a smooth brother back then.
Done some reading on World War II and knew a few things, but this 1933 was when Hitler became the Fuhrer. 1933 was also when Dachau opened. 1938, Hitler entered Vienna, making it part of the Third Reich. 1939, Germany invades Poland. We go on in 1940, the Nazis invade Holland, Belgium, France, Luxembourg. 1941, they invade Russia. 1941, the first death camp was open. In 1942, the final solution was discussed openly. And that final solution was a solution that included the extermination of the Jews. Is that not correct?
You raised a lot of very, very good points. We know from German documents, we know from German officials during the war, they did talk about something they called the final solution to the Jewish question. And the German documents that talk about this. But in the thousands, millions, tons of German documents seized at the end of the war that deal with Jewish policy, there is not a single document, not a single piece of paper which talks about or confirms or even discusses an extermination policy.
Yeah, but Mark, wait a second. Hitler also knew that if, let's say, he didn't win this war and someone ever found a document that stated that, life would be real tough for him and everyone else.
We know. We have German documents which show exactly what the policy was. And these documents are, in fact, very, very important. The German...
So I guess it's Mark Weber guy saying there's no document saying, you know, any chambers. There's no military documents saying that. And that's interesting because, like I said, if y'all know me or know this channel, I was in the Army for a long time. And everything in the Army takes an order for the most part. It's a document, and there's like 5 paragraphs, and it lists, you know, the unit, the mission, you know, everything is listed on what's going to happen, the dates, all that good stuff, even down to the man. Let's say that, you know, you're a person and you're assigned to a base in New York. And then after 3 years, they're going to assign you to a base in Florida. It takes an order, a literal order that's come out just to move you from one base to another base. Let's say that you're on a base at Texas and you're in a particular unit and they want to move you from one unit to the same base or to another unit on the same base. It takes an order to even do that. So Mark Weber is making a point that there was no orders or anything like that. And then Montel comes back with the, you know, if they would have did that, everybody would have known. Like I said, I'm not going to go either side because I want to keep this video going and keep this video up. But I just do want to say that from my experience in the Army, everything takes an order down to the man, down to the man. And according to the records here, he's saying there is no order saying do this whole thing with the gas chambers. That's what he's saying.
What the German officials meant by the final solution,
and this is educational purposes,
policy was before end of 1941 was a policy of forced or forced expulsion from Europe by forced emigration if necessary and need be. After 1941 and in 1942, this policy changed to one of deporting Jews, uprooting them, and sending them to the east. And that meant first to ghettos and camps in Poland, and then later throughout the war, they were sent to the occupied Soviet territories. That's what the German officials during the war said and meant by this final solution to the Jewish question. Now, at Nuremberg, of course, this whole issue came up at Nuremberg. All of the German defendants at the big Nuremberg trial, 1945, 1946, all said that they had no knowledge during the war of any extermination program.
Wait a minute, if I had been a German guard at one of these camps, Dachau, Auschwitz, and somebody said, did you participate in the murder of 1 million people? I would have said, no, it was you. Homeboy did it, and that wasn't me. And I would have said, no, I never saw this before. I would have lied and said anything that I could have said to prove that I wasn't involved.
That's very reasonable. But what these men had to say is also consistent from the documents that we have and what we know about. And it's also consistent from everything we know about the policy from many other sources.
All right, well, now, David, I mean, I would think that there are enough older Jewish people in this country, people who are survivors, people whose families lived through the Holocaust, who would right now be willing to do exactly what happened to you a couple weeks ago, and that's attack you because you are Jewish. And to step forward and say this would be like myself stepping forward and saying that the United States...
This guy's Jewish. David Cole Stein is his name. There's some videos out of him recently, and I'm telling you, he got wrecked. His life was wrecked. I think he became an alcoholic. He had to move somewhere in South America with the Mexicans and all that stuff. But he caught hell for some of the stuff that he put out. He even did a documentary on it, and they were not too pleased with Mr. David Cole Stein here.
The government never brought slaves to this country.
But now, if you were to say that, couldn't people then make a case to show that there was, in fact, slavery? I am not trying to aggravate anybody. Of course, I know that I am gravely aggravating people to the point where they will actually physically come up and attack me. But I think it raises many interesting issues, specifically the role of truth in society. What happens when you have eyewitnesses and yet you have other evidence, physical evidence, forensic evidence, the evidence of documents and intercepted transmissions? You make a point, Montel. You make a grave assumption, a leap of faith when you say, well, the reason we don't have these documents showing, where the Germans discussed what they did is because Hitler didn't want him around, I guess, had him burned or something because he knew that it would get him in trouble. But that's making an assumption. Now, other people might say we don't have the documents because there aren't any, because they never existed.
Okay, well, what about all of the things that you hear about the gas chambers and all those things, the mass graves with
Well,
with
now,
thousands.
no one doubts mass graves. No one doubts that there were bodies in this camp. And let me just, for the record, state, I don't doubt that it was an incredibly horrible thing that happened to the Jews of Europe, something that should not be thought of in any lighter sense, specifically because we doubt...
Let me say this real quick, and I'm not, so I guess they're saying that, it didn't happen, right? And I, I always ask myself strange questions, right? I look at, my experience, right? And I would think if someone came to me with actual evidence that Black Americans were not in slavery, or that all the lynchings and stuff like that were explained away, like, yeah, that black guy got lynched, but the reason that black guy got lynched was because he was a rapist and a murderer. I could look at it and go, okay. Or if they say, oh, all the slavery pictures was fake. We just staged that, with some Africans, and and they showed all the evidence. I would be happy about that. I would say, great. I wouldn't be upset about that. I would look at that like that's good news. Like, you telling me that my people didn't go through slavery, that's good news. So this whole thing with the Holocaust is just a strange dynamic in that you have some people that are called revisionists that have a different interpretation of what happened. And I would think that if they were correct, that would be a good thing, actually. I don't see how that would be a bad thing. If you would say that didn't happen like that, you would think, okay, that's good news because that means the people didn't suffer. But see, I think like on a God level. So it's just a strange dynamic where people will, these guys believe that it didn't happen like that, and they're showing their quote unquote evidence, and people will say, no, they did. I don't know. It's just a weird dynamic where it's like, if it didn't, wouldn't that be good? I don't know. I think it would be good news. I would think it would be good news if it didn't happen.
There were gas chambers. These people were taken out of their villages, split up from their family, and put into camps and made to work at forced labor. And this is a horrible situation, and people died from disease and starvation and just plain being worked to death. It is not that we are trying to sugarcoat what happened, but it's been many years after the fact, and it's time that we brought the facts in parallel to the actual history of what happened.
Yes, ma'am.
The fact still remains, yes, that 6 million Jews were killed, and whether or not the documentation shows that it was the intent to completely get rid of Jews, it doesn't matter whether or not the intent was there, because it happened. 6 million Jews were murdered.
Well, now, if I could just address that for a second.
Both of you. For both David and Mark, that's a very important issue, because both of you dispute the fact that 6 million Jews died.
If I could make a point now, she said the fact that 6 million Jews died. However, in 1988, the site at Auschwitz where people can go and tour the gas chambers, they lowered their figure from 4 million dead to 1 million dead. So that was 3 million taken out of the equation overnight. Where did these 3 million go? Were they never there in the first place? Were they in the camps, and did they survive? And if you can lose 3 million people overnight, who's to say that 1 million remaining figure is not also wrong?
And let me ask you this question. Weren't some of these figures ascertained after the fact, because they went back and did censuses after?
The source of the famous 6 million figure is an affidavit by by somebody who was brought in at the Nuremberg trial in 1945-46. Even Raoul Hilberg, who's considered one of the major figures in the Holocaust, Holocaust historian, he's a professor at the University of Vermont. He concedes himself that the 6 million figure is based upon crude calculations. It is only highly dubious, and he says we must re-examine this whole question of the 6 million. Look, it's very interesting, Montel. People have heard over and over about 6 million Jews dying in Europe during the Second World War. How many people in this audience know how many Germans died during the Second World War? How many Americans died during the Second World War? How many Chinese died during the Second World War? In America, as time goes by, the more time passes, the more there's emphasis on the fate of one particular people during the Second World War, almost to the exclusion of everyone else. How many...
Well, that is... Mark,
Let me make another point. I mean, right now in Washington, D.C., a federal government agency, a taxpayer-funded agency of the federal government, the United States Holocaust Memorial Council, is organizing and building an enormous museum in Washington, D.C. There's no comparable museum in Washington, D.C. to the victims of slavery. There's no comparable museum in Washington, D.C. to the fate of the Indians or any other people. But there is an enormous museum being built under federal government auspices to the fate of only one particular people in one other place. How many Chinese died during the Second World War? According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, the number of Chinese civilians alone who died during the Second World War is more than 20 million. More than 20 million. Who knows it? Who even cares?
But are we saying that, therefore, we should not believe what happened to the Jewish people because these other things are admitted? Or should we stop and say that we believe what happened?
Montel, it's right and proper to memorialize the dead of all wars, and the dead of all genocide or all mistreatment, whatever it happens to be. But what is not right is to take the fate of one particular people and, in effect, make a kind of political football out of it.
I would like to also interject, speaking as a Jew, the Holocaust is an extremely important thing to especially American and Israeli Jews, because most American Jews tend to be secularized, and the Holocaust and the shared history of persecution has tended to take the place of the religion of Jews. Now, I'm Jewish. I'm also an atheist. I don't buy many things. I don't buy concepts of mysticism, spirituality, and especially myth. And I have read both sides of the issue extensively, and I'm not looking to hurt anybody, but I do have to say, from my own point of view, that the evidence saying that there were no gas chambers is a lot stronger than any of the evidence that can be presented saying there were.
All right, well, then let's stop there and take a break. And when we come back, we'll find out. Like David said, is it myth or is it truth? We'll find out when we come back.
It's the genes, big dog. It's the genes. I'm not going to watch this whole thing tonight. I'm going to probably do a part 2. We'll probably end it here, actually. This is a great interview because you just get to hear both sides. Towards the end, they bring out some people that say that they were in some of the camps and let them give their interpretations on certain things. There's one lady who comes on and says some things that are, she said them, and those things are actually not true. Like, everyone knows those things are not true now. But she said them so confidently. Even on the show, they was like, no, that's literally not what happened. I think it was the soap, making soap out of people and all this stuff. So we know that, I think that's safe to say, we know that's not even, that didn't happen. But, so they do have the counterpart there. So we'll probably check that out another night. Like I said, I got to get to bed tonight because I got to get my butt up early to make a nice little ride tomorrow. But yeah, man, is YouTube, are there policies, man, designed to keep us in this slave mode? I'm going to go back again in Numbers, where Edom would not let Israel pass through their borders. And I noticed during this whole new, you want to call it an awakening, the questioning of the state of Israel's role in American politics and whatnot, they don't mind if white people talk. Y'all have to realize that. They will let Tucker Carlson say anything, and he not saying nothing at the end of the day. They'll let Megyn Kelly be the face of anti-Semitism. They'll let Dan Bilzerian, the Mohawk guy, say what he has to say, because inherently, and this is not a diss on white people, I just understand the spiritual order, quote unquote, white people don't have the spiritual backing. They don't have the spiritual authority to really get anything popping like that. And I say popping, I don't mean in a violent way, but they can't move the crowd. Okay? They can't move the crowd like that. So every voice that's out front talking about this whole Israel influence over American politics and whatnot, they're all white people. They're all from Turkey. They're all from Iran. All these strange foreigners. But where's the quote unquote black voice of this? They won't elevate that. Candace Owens, okay, but she's a woman. I'm sorry, it's a difference, not a man. All these things matter. So I'm looking at who is excluded from the conversation. Okay? But when Obama was in office, though, I bet you damn sure they got that gay marriage law passed. Not that I'm attacking quote unquote gay people, but that's just lends more to what I'm telling y'all. They understand the spiritual power of us. So when they want to get us on the side of something, they know how to get us on the side of something. They purposely put Barack Obama in office and then passed the gay marriage because every black spirit would be for that, to get that water moving like that. And if anyone went against Barack Obama, they knew we're sensitive and we said, oh, you're just racist. They know how to use us. But now a topic like this comes up, put us to the side and leave it at that. Now, Ye brought it out wide open about what he saw as the issue with the black and Jewish relationship. It's unbalanced. And have you noticed ever since 2022 when he made those comments, like he said on his Drink Champs interview, the first one, now they're making more yays. Now everybody's anti-Semitic. They're trying to lame it out. Everyone's anti-Semitic now. Think about it. Every white person is a quote unquote anti-Semite now. They want to label everyone an anti-Semite now to drown out what Ye was saying. They don't want Kyrie Irving saying nothing. Kyrie Irving just played basketball. They're more afraid of Kyrie Irving's influence and his spiritual power than any one of these white people that I named. I promise you that. Black people have the keys to the kingdom. You must understand this. And I don't say that in an arrogant way. I say that in a way of you need to step up and understand your role in the earth, quote unquote, black people. We are the trendsetters. We are the influence. We move the earth. And as long as we are not free, no one's going to be free. I'm looking at all these white people complaining about this and that and the other. Listen, bro, until we're free spiritually to just express ourselves with our true identity and our true understanding of who God made us to be, you never going to be free. Gas prices up. We don't care. Get them up. Gas prices up. Wars and rumors of wars. All that. They don't want us to talk. They know that we are very influential. We are the most influential people on the earth, period. I put up black people, even in our worst state. This is the worst state we've ever been as a people, as a nation of people, as quote unquote black people. This is the worst state we've ever been in. It's never been as worse as this. And even in that shit position that we're in right now, we make this whole thing move. You better understand that, people. Don't ever let these people take you away from who you are inside. And our influence, when it's done with love and truth, it changes everything. And it's going to lift everybody up. See, this is not about a whole we better than you thing. We just know who we are. We know who we are. I like to talk about the rainbow a lot because the rainbow will come up in all different parts of the world. No matter where you are in the world, after it rains, if the sun hits the atmosphere a certain kind of way, it'll create a rainbow. And that rainbow is always in the same order, the colors. It's never out of order with the violets on top and the reds in the middle. It's always in the same order. And that's how we are as a people. There's a spiritual order to this place. And my message to my black people, first of all, okay, forgive yourself. I'm telling you, Look yourself in the mirror and forgive yourself for all the bullshit you've done under this captivity. It's okay. Ye got a beautiful line. If I'm alive, God ain't finished. That same thing applies to you. If you are alive, God is not finished with you. Forgive yourself. It's okay. Forgive your parents. And we got to forgive the other nations, including the white people. The only reason black people don't like white people is because it's been fed to us not to like them. Jesus Christ said, can Satan cast out Satan? Can a house divided upon itself stand? Can it? So if they're telling us about racism in school and racism in colleges, do you think the idea of racism is to tear America down? No, it's to keep it in the same state. They're not going to give you the keys. So stop leaning on these crap narratives like racism and all this stuff that don't really exist like that. They're not going to give you the keys to get out. Forgive these white people. It's okay. They want you to hate people. We move in love. God is showing us that. We the light. Accept it. Live in it. Love it. Spread it. In truth. We got to be a people of love and truth. And I'm telling you, man, we can move mountains. We will move mountains. We shall move mountains. All right? So that's my little rant right there, man. Rant, whatever you want to call it, full flow. I just let it all out. I'm telling y'all, man, know your power, know your strength, love your brother. It's okay to love these people. And loving them don't mean hugging them and, oh, I want to do this with them and dance karaoke at the country. I'm not talking about that love. Love means that love is simple. Give them good seed so that good fruit grows. That's all. If I'm talking to my son about something like robbery and robbing people, I would tell my son, don't rob people, son. My own flesh and blood, I would tell him, don't rob someone because I love him. But at the same time, I will go to another person from India and tell them the same thing. That's all love is. It's planting good seed. That's it. It don't feel like nothing. It don't taste like nothing. None of that stuff. It's just what it is. And that's how we need to move. And it's infectious. People love us. All right? So I'm going to let that go. Like I said, I just want to jump on for a little bit tonight. We'll do a part 2 to this whole David Cole and Mark Webber appearance on the Montel Williams show. This is a classic episode here that it's kind of hard to find. And then we'll take it from there. Like I said, I'm going to get out of here. Let me check my chat real quick. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Ye was last year. Yeah, well, last year, but he started in 2022. He started in 2022, man. Yeah. Let me see. Putting down the bow and causing the world to. God's gift to me. Putting down the bow to. Yeah, all love. That's exactly. Exactly. The rainbow is our sign. All right. But there is an order to it. And when that order is met and done right, it creates a beautiful sight for all mankind. But right now, things are not in order. Black people are not playing their position. Jewish people are not playing their position. White people are not playing their position. White people kind of are playing their position. I can get into that later on. They kind of really are. Okay? It tells you in the Bible, white people are Japheth. Okay? And it tells you that Japheth shall dwell in the tents of Shem, meaning that Japheth would have this affinity with Shem. Shem is who became the father of the Israelites. Okay? The grandfather, the great-grandfather. Shem, that's the line, the Shemitic line. And you notice white people love Christianity. They love him so much that they think Jesus is white. They dwelling in the tents of Shem. So they're kind of playing their part because white people represent like mayonnaise, they represent avocado, they can kind of go with anything. I'm not trying to be quote unquote racist. I'm just saying, I see how the nations line up. I see the correct order. There's a correct order. All right. And I'm challenging my black people to stop being black and be yourself. Let the light shine. But it got to come through truth and forgiveness and love. If it don't come that way, it ain't going to come right. Quit begging for reparations and all that. I want shut up. The government can't repair you. Only God can repair us. It points to the heaven and not at the earth. Yeah, absolutely. Make sure you subscribe. I think you're new to this channel. Maybe I've seen you before. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, man. All right. I'm trying to rebuild this channel. Like I said, I took a hate speech strike a few months back, and them boys been limiting my views and all that good stuff, right? But I'm only here to spread love, man. I love every soul created, yo. We have to move like that. You can't even account for how you got here. I didn't choose to be black. I didn't choose to be a Jew. No one chose to be white, Indian, Mexican, Chinese. This decision was made from you somewhere in a whole different dimension. So I'm just happy of the gift to be here. But I want to use my gifts. So to be proud of this and proud of that, I don't know about that. How can I hate a man for being white when I didn't even choose to be black? I can't account for that. I can't take credit for being a black guy. We fighting over the dumbest shit ever if you think about it. I hope I'm making sense to y'all. I hope I'm making sense. All right. So look, I'm gonna get up out of here. I appreciate I definitely appreciate the participation in the chat. Make sure if you watch the replay, leave your comments, man. We got to get back on track though, man. All right. And the time is coming up. I can feel it in the air. The time is coming up where people have to make a decision, man. Either you on the side of the devil, okay, or you on the side of God, the Most High, the Creator. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what that means. This is entry level. Yes, sir. I hope you can go deeper into God's I'm missing for you. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that next stream, okay? I'm going to try to get on. Maybe I'll try to get on from where I'm going at the little ARBB, whatever that thing is called, ABNB. I don't even know what it's called. Maybe I might go live from there. We'll see how things are going with the fam when I'm up there. But if not, I'll be back sometime in a couple of days. But like I said, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. All right. We on this mission together. All right. And maybe one day we'll meet face to face in the kingdom. All right. So with that being said, like I say, I love y'all and I'll see you next time.